Here we are. Oh my goodness, we made it. It almost didn't happen, people.
Somehow we made it today. God, I'm chopping out. Happy to be here.
Oh, that's okay. It's fall. That's what people do. Chop apples.
Hello. It's still going. It's a weird thing. Our
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Today's been one of those days. I was just saying, like, when you have to deal with the medical stuff and insurance, it takes your whole day, and you're just like, okay, where did the day go? Because the incompetence I had to deal with was beyond reproach. And wow. And you still
may I remind you, it's easier now than it used to be.
That's right. And I was reminiscing and thinking back to when my second son was born, that was before pre-existing conditions were allowed, and it was hellacious because he was born with an issue with that, and I couldn't get his surgery done, and it was insane. And the stress involved, and how lucky we are to have this. And of course, the ACA is not perfect, and believe me, I want it improved. But if you don't have that, I mean, we're going to go back to hell.
The nightmare that it used to be, man. It's just, people couldn't leave their jobs and find another job if they had already been.
I was one of those people. Yeah.
Yep. You can't leave because you can't get insurance anywhere else.
Yeah.
So it was like being a slave.
It's pretty bad when you can't. And you know what's really interesting is I was talking to a friend who was on a show, actually producing a TV show this summer, one of the few countries that was allowing it, my homeland, Croatia. And most of the people that he encountered in Europe were like, oh God, we're so sorry. Your country doesn't care about you. And they literally had this like authentic, do you need a hug? Like, and it was just so, I mean, can you imagine, like, it hasn't really been like that. And when the second world country is like, hey, we're sorry. Wow.
I know my friend Jane, she went to, I want to say like Uzbekistan or something, one of the stands years ago. Like, probably this is going back maybe.
It was better than here.
Yeah, they got into a car accident, a little car wreck. Nobody asked for insurance, nothing. They went to the doctor, and that was the end. And they kept saying, "Do you need insurance? Do you need?" And people were going, "What are you talking about?"
Because other countries take care of their own. And I'm sorry, you can call it socialized medicine or whatever, but guess what? It's the progressive world, because if the rich people have everything, you're never going to get the whatever choice. Like, they should just help people, and then they can do what they need to do to have a better life. But if everything is a negative from moment one, how are you going to have a good life? I mean,
I don't know. I was thinking that the other day. I was like, if they're talking about trying to, if this Supreme Court justice becomes on the court and the court doesn't change, then we stand to lose Overfeld, which is marriage equality. And I thought to myself, doesn't it say in the Bill of Rights that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? How could we even be thinking about taking this away from people?
It's hard when it's like, okay, isn't the spirit of America like having your own views, respecting others that don't agree with you, and we can all coexist together? Isn't that literally the spirit of America? I mean, if you're just telling people what to do, you're back in the King George times, okay? Like,
what are you doing?
I'm chopping apples.
Okay.
It's noisy, but I have to do 3 cups, and I'm almost there. Yeah, I'm making an amazing thing today. When you just need those ultimate comfort food. I was either gonna make matzo ball soup or apple cake. And so the apple cake won. I will make the matzo ball soup. I just needed more time because I actually have to buy a whole chicken and do it
Yeah.
the real deal. But that's really fun one to do, and to make your own matzo balls, and it's a whole art form in itself. But
Yeah.
I'm excited
Yes.
to do this cake. I posted that big fat Greek wedding clip because my family wasn't the same as that movie, but as I'm sure a lot of families are. But like for our family, my grandmother tried really hard to assimilate in the 50s to Americana. So she had our own family, ethnicity and ethnic recipes from the homeland, but then she had all these other influences, and then she had this sliver of like Americana that she would do that was so insane. It was like having molds for Jello and da 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 to take to the bridge, or take to the club and take to the potluck dinners in the 50s. And they just tried to be so 50s, and it's just funny because everything always ended up a little off and a little hers, because she'd be like, that doesn't sound right to me. So she'd just do it her own way. And she kind of lived life that way in every way. Like, for example, she was a master knitter and crocheter. And so
cool.
I mean, she made coats, during the war years for fancy department stores. And so here she is. She would walk by something in a store and like see a dress on a rack and say to herself, I can make it better than that. You know what I mean? And then she would just eyeball it in her brain, look at the details, and then go and create it in her sewing room at her house.
Oh, let me tell you I'll tell you a story. Somebody's saying they have apples and they want to make cake too.
Well, this was a great one.
Well, when I was in New York modeling, I was in a competition and I needed a gown, which I could not afford. So I picked one out. I think it was in Lord and Taylor. And I went into the dressing room and I brought my measuring tape and my sketch pad, and I measuring taped and sketch pad the whole dress. And then it had rhinestones all the way down it. So then I went into the area of New York where you go for all the fabric and stuff.
The garment district?
Well, yeah, where you can get all the fabric though.
Yeah.
And so I went until I was poking around in all the fabric stores, and I just loved doing that. But I couldn't find the right fabric that had all the rhinestones on it that I could afford. So I bought the right fabric, and then I bought the rhinestones, and I put the rhinestones on the dress by hand myself.
One by one. Oh my God, Debriana.
And I made the whole dress, and then I won the competition.
Were there any photos of this?
I probably have something somewhere.
I think you should post this. We want to see this dress that you made. What was it?
If I can ever find it. What's
Do you
that?
remember the designer? Who was the designer?
Oh, no idea.
Yeah.
I probably didn't even look. I was just madly looking for a dress that I knew I could recreate, that I liked, and that I wouldn't be too long in the dressing room with my measuring tape.
It's amazing that somebody didn't ask you to leave.
I know, it was. I think I went back like 2 or 3 times at different times to try and get the measurements right, but
wow.
it was
Okay,
so funny.
people are wanting to see this, so you got to find the picture.
Yeah, I don't know. I have millions of pictures stuffed somewhere. Who knows where that one is? But my
That's
dad
so
might
cool.
have
Then
one.
you won the contest.
I know, it was fun. Well, the reason I actually went to New York was I wanted to go to FIT. So I was just
sew, people. She knows how to sew.
Yeah, I can really sew. So anyway, I was in the contest and I thought, oh, I'll just do this and then I'll get money and go, and then I'll be able to go to FIT. But one of the judges was theatrical manager, and she plucked me out. And she's like, "Oh no, you can always go to FIT. You got to go now and study and be an actor and do this while you're young."
Wow.
So that's what I
So
did.
you kind of got discovered. You're kind
Yeah,
of
kind of. Yeah, there was another time too. I was in I had gone from upstate New York, and I was living upstate New York, and I went into the city, and I was terrified. It was the first time I was there by myself, and I was completely like overwhelmed by the size of the city, and I had my portfolio with me, and I was going around to agencies, and I had gone into, I think I went into Elite first, and they held my feet down so that so that I wouldn't push up on them, so because you had to be 5'8", and I was 5'7.5".
oh my God.
So they sent me away, and I probably went to, I don't know, 5 or 6 agencies and kept getting turned down, and I was so at the end of my rope. I was discouraged, and I was lugging around this giant portfolio, and I was in a phone booth, and I was about to call home and say, I'm coming home. I can't do this. And a guy opened the door, and he said, "Are you a model?" And I said, "No, not yet." And he goes, "Come with me." And he brought me up to an agency.
Okay, that could have gone south. Okay,
I
that
know.
could have gone
You know how many
completely
times that
south.
could have happened in my life? I've done it more than once, I can tell you that. And obviously lived to tell the tale. So that was my first agent.
Wow. Wow. That's cool. You were discovered. I never knew that.
Yeah, that's my Lana Turner story.
My little sister Heidi was a child model. She did so many cool things, and we all followed her in her path. And she was so precocious and amazing. Like my mom was just like, whatever. Like I don't get this, but if you want to do it, I'll support you. And taking her to New York and doing the whole thing. And Heidi was like 10, going like, "Excuse me, cab," and going to Wilhelmina by herself. Going to Wilhelmina, "Mom, we've got the contract." My mom was like, "Heidi, we don't live in New York, okay? But why, Mom? Why can't I do this? They want me." And she's just like, "Sweetie, we live 3,000 miles away." And you're 10, okay?
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I was discovered in a phone booth. Yes, I was.
You were discovering.
Okay. What are you doing? Tell me what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I mean. So the first thing you do, here's the great thing about this batter. It's so easy. It's almost like making banana bread. There's no big deal. There's no whipping of the egg whites or any hard stuff. The hardest part, to tell you the honest truth, is greasing the bundt pan well, so that you don't want it to stick. But I'll do that afterwards. But so right now, I'm just creaming sugar and butter and eggs and vanilla and a little bit of lemon zest. So what I've put in so far is 2 cups of sugar. There's a lot of sugar in this. And then you have the caramel glaze. So a cup of white and a cup of brown. And then 3 eggs.
Okay. Whole eggs? You're just going to do whole eggs, right?
Whole eggs. And then look at this. Look at this, people. This is
a butter bath.
A cup and a half of salted butter right here, people.
The
So,
chicken's jumping in.
Putting it in. It's butter, butter, butter. But it's going to be so good.
That's like a pound cake, kind of, right?
It is. I mean, it's funny. It's like a bundt, which makes me laugh so hard every single time. A bundt cake, but it's like a cakey, bready, more cakey. It's rich. It's very rich.
Well, yeah, like a pound cake.
Yeah, super easy. Okay, and then we're gonna put I think it's 2 teaspoons.
And this is your grandma's recipe, right?
I'm altering it a tiny bit. Yes, she has all these crazy like Betty Crocker things ripped out and joy of cooking. Like I said, there is this sliver of Americana that she did to try to assimilate that cracks me up. And then she spelled everything from sounding it out phonetically, and they're all misspelled, and they're so hilarious. They make my family, we just love her. Well, it just makes her more dear that she tried so hard to be American, But anyway, okay, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. and I am
Why do
measuring.
you think they call it bundt cake? Like, you mean the word bunt? Like, where did bundt come from?
I think it's like Norwegian or something. It's
It sounds
definitely
like it
a
is.
different country. We should look it up. Somebody.
Somebody use the
Oh,
Google.
look at this. So I broke down. I broke.
Okay.
I didn't get a fancy one. I didn't get a fancy
I
one.
have one. Mine, I call it the duck. It really is an odd shape and it looks like a duck.
I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. You got it.
179 episodes in.
No, actually, our Bloody Mary episode was episode 180.
Okay. Okay,
That's
so that's, you're creaming
okay.
butter and sugar and vanilla. And then I'm gonna also put in a little bit of lemon zest, and because I'm doing all the wet, and then I'm gonna do the dry after this. And then you do at the very end, it's 3 cups of apples cubed in it, hopefully uniform. You want it to be kind of uniform so you get the same amount in every bite. But I like lemon with my apple anything.
Yes, it does. It has its own pan.
It has its own atmosphere and universe.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I haven't made one in a really long time, but this is gonna be fun. Okay, this and then
I'm not sure. What are we planning for 200? What does that mean?
What are we planning for? 200 or 2021? What are they trying to say? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm confused. Restate that, please. Whoever's
3
saying
eggs.
something.
3 eggs.
Okay.
Three just large eggs.
Large eggs. Okay.
I always buy large just for reference. I never buy a different size.
Me either. I always buy large too. And now I'm wearing jewelry because I think we need to have Zoom jewelry. And by the way, my husband's show is up at Smithsonian if anybody's interested in buying any jewelry.
Congratulations. That is so fantastic. My God. That's awesome.
Yes. Oh, the 200th show.
I have my heart.
Oh. What are we doing for the 200th show? I don't know.
Oh, we'll do something.
Oh,
that's right. For the 100, remember we had a special.
we did. I guess we
forgot. You know what's funny? I never dreamed we'd be doing 200 shows. Like, it wasn't in my thoughts.
Never in a million years did I think we'd have 200 shows under our belt.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, we could take suggestions if you guys have ideas of what we should do for our 200th show.
Wow. So this is super easy so far, right? Okay, so you just cream this together, right? Yep. Now I'm going to do the dry ingredients. Now, I know I have a really weird way of doing this. I know you put all your dry in a bowl and then you do your whisk. What I do is I put all of the smaller elements in with the wet, mix it, and then add the flour.
Okay.
It's kind of reverse sifting, if you think about it.
Okay.
But it's just faster. Okay, now here's a question.
What?
Now, I could make this more molassesy and gingery, but I'm thinking I might stay classic and not just do cinnamon, nutmeg, and it's just going to have raisins and apples. But you could do some molasses, you could do some ginger, and it makes it more of a molasses gingerbread cake. But that's not really what she did. So I think
skip it. Skip it for now.
Stay classic.
And no, we didn't think this was going to be part-time, full-time, or anytime gig. We just started doing it.
It was a coping mechanism, to be honest. That's it. And
we had no idea.
So, okay, so half a teaspoon of nutmeg, fresh.
Yes, fresh nutmeg. That's the nutmeg. Whoops.
Again, I dropped it again. It's my thing.
Could you add nuts? Yes, I think you could. I'd add walnuts or pecans myself.
Walnuts would be the one, but I only have pecans, so I'm doing pecans.
I would add pecans.
Yeah, you want nuts. You want nuts. And I'm putting raisins because I love apple.
I love raisins, nuts, and apples together.
Yeah. It's going to be really yummy. Okay, so I'm putting a significant amount of nutmeg and cinnamon in there, because I like it.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Now that's the measurement, significant amount.
Significant amount. I mean,
how about the cookbook? Is it coming along? Yes, it is.
Just trust us. Things are progressing in a very positive way. And when ink is dry and we can legally tell you what we're doing, we can't wait. Okay, that's about a half teaspoon, I would say.
Okay.
And now this is going to be.
And thank you for asking.
Yeah, thank you for asking. No, it's happening, people. It's happening.
Okay, so you're going to add basically the spices ahead?
Yes. See, watch what I do, Debriana. This actually, I'm changing my mind. I'm doing 2 teaspoons of cinnamon because I want it to be really cinnamony because there's a lot of
Aprons? We can't talk about it yet.
We can't talk about it yet. And then for the dry, also, okay, 1 teaspoon salt. Now, here's what's funny. I ran out of super fine sea salt. So what am I going to do? I've been doing this for the last 24 hours. I take my big grain gray salt and I've been using my.
I've been known to do that.
I mean, when you run out,
pestle it.
I've got so much in a giant bag, and it's like, just get it down. Get it down to what you need.
Totally.
Okay.
No, that wasn't fresh cinnamon. I have never found a way that you could grind cinnamon from the stick that doesn't come out with little shards.
It is weird. I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried
too.
I've tried.
And it's too hard to put on the microplane. It won't do it.
Doesn't do it. Okay. So you want to just make sure it's fresh. Like, for example, you go to the spice place, or you go to even Sprouts in the bulk, they have to replace those, and they're getting at least fresh. Look at the date on the thing. They have both. Okay, teaspoon of salt, sea salt, ground.
Okay.
Then a teaspoon of baking soda. That is the element of
the rising.
The rising.
The rising.
Okay. So see, if I put all this in now, all I have left is the flour and the big other ingredients. So see how it gets mixed in the wet.
I don't know that I'd add the leavening. That's the only thing. But you're doing it.
I've been doing.
I always feel like the wet will activate it, and I don't know if that's true or not.
It probably does.
I have no idea.
You're probably
that's just
right.
how I thought about it.
Okay, so I think you're right, but it's just what I do. It's weird. It's one of those things. Okay, so 3 cups of flour. 3 cups. I'm gonna do 1 cup at a time and mix. You do that?
Okay.
Or do you put the whole thing in?
No, I don't think I would do that 1 at a time. If I was doing it, it'd be in the standing mixer, and I'd be adding
You'd be adding it on the side.
Dry ingredients little at a time. Yeah.
You're like, don't even ask me how I do. Okay, there's 1.
Okay. That's not that far off. It's similar.
Yeah. Then we're gonna do 2.
But I know that I don't do this either, but I do know that you're supposed to actually, because most recipes aren't written this way, measure the flour like real bakers do it on a scale, because you want it different. How you measure it out completely changes the weight. But you know me, I stir it first before I measure the cup out.
This is looking good. Okay. Now, last cup. And then it's the apples, raisins, and nuts. And then we're going to put it in the bundt. In the bundt. But we have to.
So did you grease it yet, the pan?
What?
Are you going to grease and flour it, or just grease it?
I have to grease and flour it.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I would think.
The pan is the most nerve-wracking thing of all because.
No, you know what? You know what's an easy way? I'll tell you this now that
What's the easy way?
You can't do it.
What?
If you get the Pam spray that's for baking, that already has the flour and the grease together, that is the easiest way to do a bundt pan, and it's really the only time I use it. Because getting into those little crevices.
I know. See, I'm a little panicked about that. I have to admit. So I'm just gonna do my best. You know what I mean? Like
that's all you can do, girl. Hey, that's all we can all do right now.
Right. So I'm gonna let's see. Where's my? Here it is. I'm just gonna. This looks looking good to me. I need to add the apples and the raisins and the nuts. Okay. So we got this going on.
All right. So are you going to mix them all in, or are you doing like a streusel thing in the middle?
I could do that. But I think I'm going to mix it.
Okay.
So here's
those are apples.
Put the apples in.
And you didn't mix those with any lemon juice or anything. You just cut them.
I did. I put lemon zest. I mean, you could.
Yeah.
If it were, you know.
What kind of apples?
Honeycrisp apples.
Oh, I love Honeycrisp. That's what I baked the other night.
So this is in. You want to do it last, and you want to do it with a spatula, not the mixer, or else it will maim everything. Okay, mix that through. Then
yes, you could use butter instead of shortening to grease the pan. Absolutely, I usually do.
I'm going to use butter.
Yeah.
I'm going to melt the butter. I'm going to paint it with my brush.
That's the other way. Yep.
Get in the crannies, and then I'm going to do the flour, which I know how to do. You know, once I get all the oil in there, it'll be easy. But
yeah.
So this is a cup. So this is a quarter cup.
No, there was no squeezy episode today.
I'm using golden raisins because I love them.
I do too.
In this cake, it's going to be good. And then,
how much are you putting in?
Cup.
Okay.
And then the last thing is a cup of pecans, and I brought some chopped ones already.
Okay, and they're not toasted or anything. They're just raw.
Should have toasted them.
You don't have to.
I know, but should I? Well, it's too late now.
I don't know. You don't have to. You know me. I'm the toaster.
I know you. I'm
so toaster queen.
I've been so inspired by you with stuff like that, but I started toasting more, but then I just forgot.
That's okay. It all is going to taste delicious.
But people, this is so yummy. Like, this is going to be delicioso. It already tastes so good.
Yeah, the batter's probably just fine.
It's like solid butter.
Yeah.
And sugar and vanilla. It's so tasty. Like, it's already a divine.
See, to me, that's like breakfast. Look, you have fruit, nuts, raisins. It's delicious.
Protein. All right. So my whole challenge right now, I've got the batter. It's ready.
Okay. So someone's listening. I thought Heidi said golden raisins are artificial or something.
Did she?
Your sister? Yes. Yes. You talked about golden raisins not being real raisins.
We did?
Yes, you did.
We did? Oh, they're treated with sulfur dioxide.
Yeah. That's what makes them golden. Because raisins aren't golden. I mean, I have white grapes. Oh, Holly. Maybe Holly said it.
Holly told us?
Somebody did. But yeah, it was Holly. It was Holly.
Okay.
It was Holly.
Look, we're talking to Holly tomorrow. It's her Holly's homegrown. Let's get a party on it tomorrow. Not that I don't believe whoever said that. It's just I want to know more about it. but I do love them.
Oh, okay. I hope Holly's not watching.
Always like,
Why are you using golden raisins?
I use them in so much. I love them for baking.
Do you? I
Okay,
tend not to.
so I'm gonna do this bundt. It's gonna happen.
Okay. There it is. I have the same pan.
$12.99 at Target.
No, mine is the Martha Stewart one. It weighs 1,000 pounds.
Oh, you have a
It's
much nicer one than me.
Yeah, it's really heavy. Yeah.
My grandma had so many different beautiful, which I don't have one of, which I wish I did, just those Christmas
Mm.
shapes and
Yeah, yeah.
mountains and different.
My friend Jane gave me a pan like that, a baking dish that it's two-sided and it comes together and it's a beehive, the shape of a beehive. And I've never baked in it. I shouldn't. I've
That,
have had it
that
for years
sounds
and I've never used it.
beautiful. You should make
Yeah, it's really
something like
pretty.
that.
I should make something with it. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever baked anything in it.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna melt the butter and do this now and put it in the oven. So what you do
Oh,
next?
it's Peggy. Yes, Peggy, you did get the finger episode right. No, we're not questioning you. We just can't remember. We do not have a Peggy mind.
I believe you. All I'm saying is let's have Holly explain it again tomorrow.
Yes.
I know I'm in the wrong and I'm just okay with it, Sometimes
That's okay.
flavor
It's
over, some chemicals.
Yeah.
But
All right.
okay, so oven 350, it's preheated. You're gonna cook it for about an hour and 15 minutes. Again, always depends on your oven. You're gonna be checking this, having the oven light on.
Use
I will post
your stick
the
to say
glorious pictures. It is hopefully just pray for me that it comes out.
okay.
So what you do is you cook it, right?
Send you some chicken love.
It's done. You check it with like a thin knife to make sure it's cooked all the way. Then you take it out, you cool it for a tiny bit, and then you flip it to get it out. And
Mhm.
then when it's still warm, that's when you have to do the glaze. So you're gonna make the caramel, and I'll put all that in the recipe of just the traditional cream and sugar and vanilla and butter. And you're gonna drizzle it on, and you're gonna want to put a thing underneath because it's gonna get messy and sticky. And if you have an ant problem, I'm just saying.
Like we do. Yes.
So you prepare for that, but I'll write all that in the recipe, and then you just let it. I would let it.
Do you poke holes in it?
No, I don't.
Oh,
But you could
okay.
do that. I mean, maybe that's a great thing to
You
do.
wanted to sink it in, yeah.
A great idea, Debriana, and then it'll go all the way through. But you
Mhm.
you can eat it warm, but I prefer to wait for it to cool more, and then it's easier to cut.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow it'll be awesome. And you want to
Breakfast.
put it in an airtight container of something, and then it'll be fabulous tomorrow for breakfast.
Mhm. Yeah. Well,
Dark.
hey, I got a new guest for us.
Yay!
And
We're
he's
gonna
going
have
to be on next week. I was on his podcast last week, Yoni, The World According to Yoni. That's his podcast. He just had Frangela on his show. So I talked to him today, and he's going to come on and cook Saskatchewan chicken, as we like to call it. I made the same mistake when I was little.
Oh my goodness.
His daughter calls it
If anybody
Saskatchewan
wants to
chicken.
see a great interview with Debriana, go to his YouTube because she fooled everybody in my house. They were like, "What are you listening to? That person seems really smart." And I'm like, "That's Debriana.
She fooled everybody.
She really knows what she's talking about." No, it was a great
Oops.
interview. It was a great interview.
Thanks. Well, you know what I'm going to say now. Everybody volunteer.
Yeah.
There's still time to get this done. Do not stop. I have been writing postcards. I'm about to mail a couple of hundred of them in 2 days. I'm finished writing that batch. And I found out today through another political group that I'm part of that there are several special elections coming between now and December. So the postcard writing thing is going to continue going. So we have 2 weeks. 2 more weeks to sweat this out, and then we have a couple of other things to do. Let's keep going.
Today is 15 days, and it just couldn't go any slower. Oh my God. But just hang in there, everybody. Do what you can do. If you can't volunteer your time, donate. There's so many micro donations you can do that make a difference. You know all the sites. We talk about it every time.
Yeah, defeat by tweet. I'm doing that one. You can donate like a dollar a tweet and set a cap for the month of his tweets. There's tomorrow night is a benefit for Wisconsin Democrats. And that is going to be with the great Sarah Cooper and a bunch of comedians. It should be hilarious. So that's another thing you can do.
There's so much going on in the art community to do fundraising. So just get on social media and you'll find something. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. And if if you can, these phone banks and postcards and volunteering are.
I did text banking yesterday. It was fun. Yeah. Yeah. So, just do it. Is what I gotta say.
Just go. Do it.
Yeah. We'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Episode 182, because this is 181. 181, Lisa.
Can I lick these now?
I would. You guys be safe. Everybody wear a mask.
Thanks for watching. Go to our YouTube.
Subscribe.